Hello BookTube. For my first video of 2022, I want to talk about my top 10 favorite books of 2021. Coming in at number 10 is The World Turned Upside Down by Jisheng. This is a history of the Cultural Revolution, and it is deep, it is exhaustive, it is an amazing work of history, and I loved every moment I read of it. It's just a wonderful book. It's not higher on my list because I ended up reading Tombstone by Jisheng earlier, and this book is just so powerful. It's a history of the Great Chinese Famine from 1958 to 1962, and it just awe-inspiring. Both books are just truly awe-inspiring works of Chinese history, and I look forward to what Jisheng is working on next. Hopefully there will be more from him, because these two books are amazing. Amazing. Just coming in at number 8 is How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. This is a look at America and racism, and through the lens of tourism. Clint Smith travels to various places in the United States, primarily the southern United States, that has a history of racism, or that the racial politics of the area plays a particular role in the history of racism in the United States. He starts with Monticello and goes through a number of plantations, a Confederate graveyard, and it's just a wonderful, amazing book. Coming in at number 7 is The End of American Childhood by Paula S. Fass. This is a history of American childhood from the Republic, the beginnings of the Republic, to the near present, of how the state of being a child has changed from the late 18th century to the present, how we think about childhood. It's an amazing book. I loved every moment of it. Coming in at number 6 is Ecstatic Nation by Brenda Wineapple. This is a history of the United States from the death of John Quincy Adams to roughly the end of Reconstruction, if I remember. Yeah, to the end of Reconstruction. It's an amazing work. I loved every moment I spent with it. Coming in at number 5, and these were rather difficult to kind of settle on, but yeah. So number 5 is If Then, How the Somatics Corporation Invented the Future by Lepore. This is a history of how the Somatics Corporation introduced the idea of the algorithm, of quantifying Americans through census data, through poll questions and poll answers, and all sorts of other bits of data to sort of create a predictive algorithms that are highly beneficial to politicians, advertising, so on and so forth. And it's a really interesting book. I loved every moment of it. Lepore is an amazing writer. Coming in at number 4 is The Age of Decadence by Simon Heffer. This is a history of Britain from 1870 to 1914, and it is just an amazing book. It is big, it is exhaustive, it is dry, it's witty, it's wonderful. Coming in at number 3 is A World Beneath the Sands by Toby Wilkinson. This is a history of Egyptology from its beginnings in the 17th and 18th centuries, before hieroglyphics were deciphered in the early 19th century, up to pretty much the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun in the 1920s. And this book is wonderful. I loved every moment of it. It's brilliant. Yes. Coming at number 2 is Sunny Days by David Kamp. This is history of educational children's programming from the programs before Sesame Street, Captain Kangaroo and others, to Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, other programs on more commercial channels, up to the beginning, I think the late 70s or into the 80s, I think, when children's television really started to become more commercialized. So basically when television started, I think what there was of children's television was more commercial, and then a number of people in the television industry, among them Fred Rogers, the creators of Sesame Street, teachers, kind of got together and thought, I mean, children's television should be more educational. So they produced a number of programs, some of them on PBS, others on commercial stations, whether the national ones like Schoolhouse Rock, or more local stations, and that's last from like the late 60s into through the 70s, and then with the 80s, children's television became, while a lot of the programs still remained, Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, Schoolhouse Rock, either on television or through school video. But children's television coming with the 80s really became much more of just practical commercials. I mean, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, Transformers, their purpose was to basically sell toys. So, yeah. But this is a wonderful book. I loved every moment of it. Just, loved it. And my number 1, The 100 Years' War on Palestine by Rashid Khalidi. This is a history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict from its beginnings in the late 19th century, with the beginnings of Zionism and basically migration from Eastern Europe and anti-Semitic policies in a number of Eastern European empires to Palestine, and through the continued sort of migration, colonization, the Balfour Declaration, independence, on through to the present. This book is amazing, and it really sort of changed my opinions on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's powerful and thought-provoking, and my favorite book of 2021. So anyway, book 2, That was my top 10 favorite books of 2021. I will be back with another video here real quickly because it's Tag Tuesday and I'm going to do the first tag of 2022. So a new book tip. Until I see you again, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.